Good news, guys. Coronavirus is over.
We can do whatever we want. Look.
Wait a second.
We're back.
Hold on.
We're back.
I don't feel good about it.
I want to hug you.
The Hakuna Matata means no worries for the rest of our days.
Well, that's not true.
All right, we got to get claps in.
I've been here for a while.
Scott, you've got to get claps in, too.
He does?
Yeah, because we're now zooming Scott in instead of using the terrible
he's
Wirecast.
4K pretty today. That is HD Scott. That looks great.
Yeah.
So much better than that cloudy, weird glaucoma one I used to look at in this room. Much better.
I have a good, nice ring light that I bought, too, though.
Did you? Mm-hmm. Oh, it is. It's in your glasses. You did it. It works. It makes
No, that's an angel.
Oh, that's
an angel.
Halo. Hello.
I feel bad. I still want to get
great.
some Purell from touching your
Really?
from the ET.
Here, I
thing.
have some here in my
No,
hands.
don't make it happen.
Feels like Purell.
All right, so coronavirus is over. You guys have heard of all that.
Yep.
Jake Paul figured out how to get rid of it.
That's right.
He was
steal some cologne from a Sephora.
Scott, do you have a curfew in Indianapolis?
Yeah, the only place anybody got killed last night was in Indianapolis.
Oh, great show starter.
Yeah.
So, good kickoff. 8 o'clock is the curfew.
Is that
Not an impact to me out here.
He'll be asleep.
Oh, it's downtown?
Yeah. No, it's like the suburbs. I don't know if are your suburbs on a curfew?
I don't know anything because I don't leave the house still. I'm still...
Phoenix
Right.
is, I don't know if it's Arizona or what. Let me check. I can look.
Yeah.
I just complained about this with somebody because people had texted me after it said, by the way, dude, we're on curfew tonight. And I'm like, I have a phone. I get updates. There's no reason to be my information source.
Maybe they think you're me.
Just want to let you know. Just want to let you know.
Can you tell Frank? I'm
Yeah,
sure he has no idea what's going on.
Let everybody know that since I have a phone and I'm the only one in the world with a phone, I have to tell all my friends. I'm like, I get it. I understand. We all have one. Yeah, it's just city of Phoenix and surrounding will be 8. But I don't think
What's surrounding?
Well, they're not really going to enforce it in the outside areas. Tempe's probably got a pretty heavy one, but I don't see Gilbert unless something goes on. They're not going to go.
In my HOA, they actually they're enforcing a curfew in the HOA.
Is that right?
No.
I was going to say. You had to have a meeting for that? Look, everything's
I felt
goofy.
like you there.
Everything's weird right now. I'm not surprised. HOAs
Is
never
that
do
the
anything.
first gate or the second gate that keeps you guys safe?
Well, the second gate is controlled by gargoyles.
Yeah.
that
And
come to
also the
life.
gate. They changed the code, Scott, to get into Frank's compound.
Ooh.
And also let
by cutting the final number in half.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, and it was pretty similar. But the buttons are now on fire. So I thought that was an interesting
Oh,
idea.
yeah.
I can't touch
The
that thing.
metal buttons are rough.
Horrible. You know, that's my favorite thing about the protests is that this means so much to people of Phoenix that they just wait for the weather to get nice, then they protest. There are no, like L.A., they protest in the daytime. They'll march. They do some things. Here, we're going to wait till the sun goes down. I'm pissed
Right.
off. But
Okay, I was trying to figure out what you were saying with
Yeah.
that because, it's...
And they don't do it in the morning when it's nice again. So their
They wait for
anger and outrage has a temperature gauge.
Right. Well, did you see that's how they're dealing with everything. Now, first of all, let's get into it like this because I truly believe there are peaceful protesters out there.
Completely.
And they're for good reason. There's a lot going on. There's a cultural situation that we as 3 white guys can't really understand anything from the inside out. It's kind of, you can have that compassion, but we don't feel that, so we don't know what it's like. And I'm not super lefty liberal guy, and I'm not far right guy who thinks there's no racism. I know there totally is.
Tons.
It's brutal, and you know, we all have friends that we talk to of different color skin and stuff. One of the worst things is one of my daughter's friends. She's got a little brother who's maybe 5 or 6, and he's worried that people hate him because he has brown skin now. He never even had this worry before. And now, because the news is on all the time and you see it everywhere, that breaks your heart.
That's brutal. And, you don't like to see that that's going to be the systemic part of this is that it's never been different. It's now on film. And that's the thing that I look at. It's like I have a friend of mine who told me, he's a black guy, and he told me a long time ago, we talked about this. He goes, you go to Target and steal something. And you walk in and steal, and they see you stealing it, and you're running away. What do you feel? I'm like, I'm scared. Obviously, I'm nervous. I'm trying to get out. And he goes, they tackle you. Cops show up. What are you thinking? I'm like, I don't know. And then you're trying to get away and stuff. And he said, now imagine that you feel that every time you go to Target just for shopping.
Just for picking something
Just
up
for
and
going in there. He said, sometimes you get that feeling like, oh, something's not right. And he goes, whether you're right or wrong, it's just ingrained in you.
Right.
And I said, I can't understand that. And I can't.
Right, we have no idea.
I have no concept of that because, again, privileged world and everything else. But I also, I don't know. I'm struggling with the reaction. We live in a world where everybody's like, fact check this, fact check that, give me this, Snope this. I want to know that. And Twitter has to be perfect, or we'll put little tweets on it that say this thing hasn't. And yet, when it comes down to something as important to this, we don't wait for one single fact. We react to what we saw.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it. That's all we are, is monkeys to the video. And we're like, I don't like what I saw. I'm sure it's wrong. I don't know anything else. And here's my conclusion. We've already come with a conclusion on how we need this to end, or there's going to be more riots. At 4 or 5 months from now, this is happening all over again. When this cop he is not going to jail for murder, if what I read today.
And what did you
I saw a thing that said the initial autopsy report came back that it wasn't asphyxiation, it had nothing to do with his neck. Now, that eliminates...
But he still was stepping on him for 9 minutes.
He's still wrong. Yes, he's still wrong.
Still wrong.
But it eliminates murder. It becomes
murder
involuntary manslaughter.
Well, they've only got murder 3.
Murder 3, but this becomes manslaughter.
Which I was reading, before you go on, I was reading murder 3 doesn't even exist in a lot of places.
Yeah, it's a real low... It's basically one step above manslaughter or involuntary manslaughter. And it can also be a step above... what is the one where you inadvertently cause someone's death through your bad behavior?
I believe that's the term.
Yeah, that's it. That's what lawyers didn't have many words to use.
No, they ran out of words. They played a game where they were only allowed to use each word once, and then they wrote that out.
So I mean, I look at this like, we've reacted to the point where we demand an answer today, and we don't have any of the truth. And they even said there's toxicology reports that could come back that might have an underlying reason to where he died. The cop's still wrong, really, really wrong.
Yes,
but people have already made up their mind on how this has to end, or it's equally bad, and we're gonna have this again.
Yeah, and there've been a lot of talks about trying to figure out what's even the end goal, and a lot of people are saying all 4 convictions.
Yeah.
Like
Convict now is basically the end goal.
Right.
Everybody that stood there and did nothing gets convicted today, or else. And look, you treat a group of people unreasonably for this long in a country, their reaction is going to be unreasonable. I'm on both sides of this thing. I look at it and go, there's a group of marginalized people who have been treated terribly in this country for years and hundreds of years.
Right.
And now when videotape says, we've told you this forever, you've turned a blind eye, and now we want answers, their reaction can be unreasonable too, because both sides are acting horribly because it's a horrible situation. There's nobody that can take this and put it in a bottle and say, here's how it's all going to... It's got to be bad to get better.
And it is tough, but the fact that you keep thinking it's on videotape makes me
Well,
laugh.
I say videotape. Did I say it?
You keep saying videotape.
Some guy with his crank...
Betamax, he's like, I'm ahead of the curve.
He's under a hood. It's terrible. I can't blame anybody for acting the way they're acting on either side.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of the big the protesters, the real protesters, the ones that are out there peacefully protesting and with chants and stuff like that, I can't breathe. That's different than the people that are out there actively trying to loot and destroy stuff.
I'll tell you this, though. I agree with you. But if I took the devil's advocate, I'd say that's because you're a white guy who, when he says stuff, people listen. And so if I was a black guy, I would hear that and go, yeah, we've tried that.
Right, but I mean, there are some people that are both, that are looting and doing, but I see a lot of the peaceful. The problem I see is this: the media is going crazy. They love this. That's what scares me. They're enjoying. I texted you. I was watching CNN. I'm watching CNN, and they're saying, it looks down there like there might be a car that could possibly have been there for some. It was Adam Schefter. According to some of my sources at this particular time, there's an opportunity that there may have been a person. Like, there was no fact. So I flip over to Fox News and watch that. It's a Republican guy on who just sounds like he's running for election and blaming people. And I'm like... I can't get anything that feels like they know exactly.
No one does.
Like,
because we're reacting without facts.
Right.
So no one does know anything. So they're spewing out what they think based on what they've seen. I mean, this is a really weird comparison, but remember when Brad Pitt went by Jennifer Aniston at the Golden Globes and they snapped that picture and their hands were touching, and they were looking each other in the eyes, and everybody said, "Oh my God, there's something here. They're back together. They've rekindled something." And then you see the video of it. He was walking by and went, "Hey, Jen," and they brushed hands, and it lasted less than a second. But the picture snapped, made everybody think, "Oh." The people that love the two of them together lost their minds. We don't know what we're doing until we get all the facts, and we refuse to get all the facts, and now we're reacting to them, and that's just the danger of it all. I'm
Wait until that picture comes out with me and you touch your fingers.
Bing!
It's over.
But it's frighteningly reactive, and I'm oddly to my own. I'm disappointed in myself because I'm sitting here thinking this is the easy part of this. I'm surprisingly unfazed. I'm waiting for this to be the other shoe because it's coming, I think. And I don't want to be a naysayer or a downer, but I think the other half of this has to be the fact that everybody's riled up. Nobody wants to hear facts. Everybody's going to think that if an autopsy report comes out that kind of
doctored.
It's doctored.
Right.
It's fake. So there's no
when
win
you first
here.
said that was the first thing that came to my head is, because I actually wanted, as bad as it sounds, and it may sound terrible, I'm like, it's cut and dried. When it's cut and dried, it's simple. We have A and B, and the reaction is C. And now we're getting a little bit of
we have A.
Yeah.
We may be looking at B, but we have to look into it.
But nobody's going to believe B to get to C.
But we're already at D, which is reaction to C. And we're not even there yet. So we've jumped way ahead. Yeah.
Because it sounds like A is a neighbor away.
Today's show brought to you by the letter D. And the number, fuck. Because that's how I feel.
That's a
Frank.
number?
That's
is that
how
a
I feel. It is now.
sideways
Yeah,
zero?
It's right after infinity.
Because
you would say infinity, and then what?
Fuck. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable, man.
You know who saw at the end of that? Jake Paul.
Jake Paul, man.
He's got video.
There's the other thing. The outraged 20-something white kid that seems to be on the precipice of understanding the oppression of black people is driving me mad.
Yeah.
And I like that they're supportive.
It's good.
But you can't be I don't think you're allowed to loot. I don't think a white kid can say, "I feel the pain."
I have heard that in so many places, though. Like everybody I've talked to in different cities, it's all teenage white kids that are
part of it.
Yeah,
the bad part.
Big. I don't know.
It doesn't, and it doesn't take much to turn an angry mob into a rioting mob. And so then you've got the other angle where everybody's saying they've hired people to come in and stir it up, which would not be hard. If you've ever been in a situation where you got 20 angry people, one guy going, "Throw this," or has fire, it's like, well, I better start reacting because it's going to get worse.
Wasn't it Carlin? I remember Carlin saying, like, "I like individuals. I hate fucking crowds."
Yeah, exactly.
It's
yeah. And I can say it right here on your show. I hate all races. I like people, individual people. Whenever you bundle something into one group and say this is all they are, this is every parameter they are, that to me is racism. So I hate I hate saying that about it.
Well, that's when it becomes identity politics.
Exactly.
Right? And you start playing to people's fears.
Yep.
And people genuinely should have a lot of these fears, but when you ramp them up, that's when it gets really difficult. I just keep waiting. I just keep hoping that and I've never been in the political spectrum, middle of the road kind of person. I've always said that. Maybe a little more conservative fiscally, a little more liberal socially. Yep. But I'm willing to listen, and anybody I know people are going to think differently, and I deal with that, and I just have to acquiesce. I'm going to have to compromise on a lot of things.
Yeah, I think you're like most people. Like you're realistic, and you kind of look at things. I'm cynical. I'm too cynical, but I'm realistic towards the idea a little.
A little bit.
I don't know.
Tiny bit.
But the cynicism kicks in a little too heavy for me, and I just get kind of frustrated by the idea that it's like both sides have a point, and neither of them are going to be heard. Killer Mike is a guy.
That was great.
I sent you a
that
thing.
to me.
I've been watching him all week.
Have you seen that, Scott? The Killer Mike
in Atlanta.
Yes.
He's brilliant, and I mentioned him on my show Friday morning because I saw him say something earlier in the week that I thought was great, which basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, so if I misquote, it's a little bit off. This is the basics of it, where he basically said, the black community should embrace their Second Amendment rights and realize that the people that they've been trying to support all these years have made them felons and make it so they can't get guns. If you can get a gun, own a gun, embrace that, protect yourself, be part of the America that, all these people say that they want you to be. And he went on basically saying that you're trusting these politicians for the last 50 years that have said we're going to make your lives better, and all they've done is made it harder and harder for you to be part of it.
Right.
And it opened my eyes to this whole new thing. So I brought it up a little bit on the show, and I realized, you can't even have somebody with logical voice because his name's Killer Mike. So the people who don't want to hear it immediately are like, okay, you're listening to Killer Mike now? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, if his name was just Mike
maybe
Johnson,
Sleeper Hold Mike.
Right.
Maybe that's
why does he have to be so violent?
It's all going to be okay. But it's wrestling. It's wrestling. It's fake.
Yes.
So
the DDT Mike may have been.
Yeah,
just
but
knock him out for
still a chance for injury. Let's just go with
suplex
figure
Mike.
4 leg lock Mike.
Oh, you could blow somebody's leg up, a heel hook?
What?
Oh, you can maim a man with that figure 4.
What? Right behind me, camel clutch Mike.
Camel
clutch shot, number 1. Iran, number 1. America. See? It fits.
He was right 40 years ago.
Ah, the Iron Sheik knows it.
Want to know another thing that's bugging me while I'm at it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, this really has my goat, There's another thing that drives me
Norm
nuts.
Macdonald.
Yeah, you know what? That Norm Macdonald's got some points. You can't say, and I want to get this part
Have you been holding this in all weekend?
Yes. This has driven me nuts. I have a lot of police officer friends. I mountain bike with a few of them. I have a lot.
How are they doing right now?
Well, that's what I'm
because there's a lot of good cops.
That's my
and
point.
There's some bad.
Here's the thing. I have nothing but support for the police department and people in that job. I've been on ride-alongs where my eyes were pried open, and I'm like, this job is horrifying.
Terrible.
I don't know why you'd want to do it. And I am a supporter of the cops. You can't say that out loud on a broadcast without somebody saying, now, see, those dudes you love so much, this is what they do. And I'm like, everything's so black and white that I can't say, yes, I'm a supporter of the cops, but I'm not a supporter of people who are bad at what they do.
Correct.
And that isn't what I'm supporting. The general quality of a law enforcement agent is always has parameters. And if they break it, that's an individual breaking it. If it's a systemic thing, then that's a problem in that department.
See, I think there are different types of people that get into law enforcement.
Oh, yeah.
There are the people who genuinely want to do good. They feel a calling. That's the Shaquille O'Neal group.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, we're going to make an arrest. It's going to be fine. Everything's good. Here it is. I've never shown this to anybody.
There's that group. And then there is the TSA type of person that is they've been picked on and they've wanted authority. And some of those guys, those people, get in that position. They want to be in that position just to have something over you.
Yeah.
They want to hold something.
They want a little power because they've been powerless their whole life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And those, listen, I don't have any kind of empirical evidence on that. It's just a feeling. And it's
you're right. But that's true in all jobs that give you power.
Yes.
Because you're going to have a few people who abuse it and a few people who got into it to feel it and they can't handle it. So when I say I'm a supporter of the police, most police officers I've talked to have said, I don't know what that guy was doing. I don't know why those guys did what they did. I don't understand it. And it didn't mean that they were saying he's horrible and everything else. It's like, why would you do that? And they want to know more. And they've been in situations where it's like stuff him in the back of a car or do something. I don't know why you did what you did.
Have you seen some of the, and Scott, I'm asking you too, have you seen some of the backstory, possible backstory about George Floyd that they both work security
at
someplace?
Like some nightclub or something.
Yeah.
It was a nightclub in Minneapolis. Yeah, they worked alternating shifts, but they worked together for a number of years.
So they would have, they must have run into each other.
It was indoor-outdoor.
It
was indoor.
One was working outside, one was working security inside. And
George Floyd's a really big dude.
He's huge. Andy, somebody sent me his porn.
That's the thing you don't see on the ground, and people are like, why would they need to put him on the ground? Because they were nervous as shit looking at that dude. I mean, and he was a security guard. That's what he did a lot of, or bouncing.
But if they know he's a security guard, though, that's a weird.
No, I don't get it. But to me, that's the thing that seems extra strange.
The 9 minutes on the ground part when he doesn't seem to be capable of fighting back. And he seems.
Oh, there's no excuse for any of what
I don't understand. I don't understand. There's no defending it at all. There's no defending what happened. And if he results in that man's death via asphyxiation or something in his system that created such a tense moment, he blew up inside, that guy's still got to get in trouble.
Right.
And he has priors. Like he and a couple of those cops.
George Floyd. Oh, the cops.
The cops.
Every cop's got a list of complaints. Every cop has a list.
Especially a cop that's been on the force for 20 years.
If you've been at it for 20 years, you've got somebody who just didn't like how you did it, and they know they're going to try to get in trouble. I have friends who are cops and are like, maybe not a laundry list.
Like
and I didn't.
With Yelp.
Yeah, exactly. It's a Yelp thing. You're going to get reviewed poorly the longer you do the job, and the more you do, and the more active you are, the more things you're involved in. Especially the worse it gets. You know, you're going to grab somebody who wasn't guilty in a situation that started to get out of hand, and that guy's like, what did I do? You know, and you might get the wrong dude that fires off complaints that this guy held me against my will. Well, I didn't do anything. It turns out he didn't do anything, but the cop was trying to, ease tension in a situation. So, yeah, I didn't see the list of them. Maybe he does have a few on there that are like, whoa, there probably should have been more to this. But
that we can't get that's the other thing.
But we don't have the facts.
We can't get the information.
We can't react yet, and we are. And I understand why. I get why. I don't agree with it, but I get why, and that's where I sit in the middle of this, like. It's not
because nobody has any
matters.
patience. You have to wait. You have to wait. But everything is a right now society. Yeah. Everything's on Twitter, and and all these years of all this stuff blowing up, and now it being caught on video, tape, or digitally, but
or drawn,
all this
on the side of a cage.
Flipbooked.
Flipbooked.
A lot of flipbooking. A lot of people.
A lot of court sketching.
Court sketch flipbooks.
Yeah, that guy is never where you need him. The court sketcher is never like, I'll go down and look what I drew. He's unnecessary.
Are they talking on film noir?
Well, they're from the 30s. See? See, buddy, I drew this whole thing. It's right here in black and white. Literally in black and white. I didn't have any colored pencils. Do they still call them colored pencils? We're not allowed to do that today, are we? No. He looked at me.
I just got scared.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to be. But Jake Paul going into the mall with his thing.
Maybe he just wanted to rhyme.
The local
Mall
news.
in the mall.
The local news, stealing shoes. No, everybody's going out there to try to get clicks and noticed. I don't think Jake Paul did that because he's furious and outraged about this act. Jake Paul saw an opportunity to go be part of what's big in the country right now and got a ton of clicks.
I heard his brother, Logan, was going into the looting forest.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The show shoes?
Yeah. The looting forest.
Things people didn't want anymore. It's terrible. But yeah, though, I'm seeing things that I feel like are set up because the internet is so immediate. To go back to your point, like you kept saying, you want it to be immediate. And like I'm watching
I don't want it to be immediate. I don't either. Immediate.
But every city has had a local reporter accosted. CNN had one arrested. And I'm watching that going, this is them making the story about themselves. I don't buy that half of this stuff isn't like, let's go try to stir up trouble. I don't think the CNN reporter getting arrested seemed real for 1 second to me. And maybe that is my cynicism. But to me, I'm like, this seems like they're just like, well, put him in handcuffs and walk him away and we'll make a big deal out of this about
Well, there was the group that was like a block away from them that just moved and they said they would move and everything was fine.
Right.
And then this group, and then they were trying to pin it on some type of race thing. But one of the guys is white that's in the group. One of them's Latino, one of them is black.
I didn't buy it.
And it seemed weird to me. Did you see it, Scott?
I did. I think there's a big difference between the local and the national. And I guess I disagree a little bit. I think national, when you're in New York and you're watching something in Minneapolis and none of these buildings mean shit to you, you don't care that much. But when they were showing what was going on in New York, they started getting a little stressed. Like, oh, well, I know where that is in Brooklyn. Yeah. And then they showed the CNN sign being defaced. So I felt like when I was watching my local news and they're breaking windows and buildings, and the anchors and the reporters seemed really bothered by that because it's the place they go to eat, the place they've been to. It seems real to them. So I felt like there was a big difference when you watched local news and a local riot versus a reporter that's based in New York or based in D.C.
It becomes
and
symbolic.
all of a sudden is set in Minneapolis. Yeah. All of a sudden it becomes like the Middle East to them. They don't have any experience. It's just like a a different viewpoint or feeling they got.
You had a great point about sports. When they have a streaker on the field, they just won't show it because it encourages stuff. That's an excellent point. But if you start, I thought about that for a little bit after you said it. I'm like, that's a really
I just
good point.
surface think.
It was really, well, it is, but I started to think about it, and I'm like, if the news decided to say we will not go down and show this because it encourages it, they step right into their business loss because the internet will. And they've been losing to the internet so badly, so much that they have to be part of it.
Yeah, but at a certain point, you have to lose to the internet.
But you lose your business.
If you have to...
If the news can't do it, they lose their business.
But at the same time, you can't trust the news because they're going too quickly. They're as unbelievable as the internet. That's the problem I have.
They're competing with something that can't be trusted, and the only way to beat it is to be just like it. Or at least be involved the same way.
Stop showing vandalism, but show streaking. That's what I'm...
There you go. How about if a streaker breaks for... Well, that's what we need right now, more streakers.
Yes.
Where's the harm in this?
You only...
Colin Kaepernick should have done that.
You only get on television by breaking a window naked.
Yeah.
Because the danger level of shards of glass cutting foreskin...
The only hammer you can use is on your body.
That's right. You have to use part of your body to do it. I like that.
Wait a second. So you're saying that
you have to use your dick to break windows?
Get firm.
Well, no. Maybe you do.
That's your looting feeling.
Yes. I can break windows with my soft penis.
You can?
I'll show you. Bring a pane of glass.
They call you Indiana Bone?
I have to do 3 spins like I'm going to throw the hammer. And then I throw the hammer.
We're down here at Melrose Avenue. Peter North has just done it.
Oh, there he is.
He's bringing it up again. North. He's in on that.
They put a compass up.
They had the George Floyd porn going around. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, you didn't know about that, Scott? How can you not know that?
I don't think that makes him a bad person, so don't.
No, I think it makes him a great person.
I say that. Don't make it seem like I'm trying to throw up.
Google Habib show. I'm sure you're familiar.
I'm not. What's that?
That's what he was part of.
Oh, it is? I didn't know that. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's one of the brands. I think I might have seen it on your phone.
Probably. I just don't pay attention. I don't really know the channel I'm watching.
Look at the keywords.
I'm not really. What's on blackraw.com today?
You see what's happening. You don't know how it's described.
I'm familiar with Black Raw though, so I guess I'm lying to myself that I don't know the channels I visit. I love Vixen.
Are you a cuckold guy? Is that what's going on, John? I feel like...
You know what? I'm not against anything. I don't discriminate. If I'm jerking off, it's to whatever got me that day.
Just go through the roll spin and whatever it lands on.
Cuckold.
Or you got to make a choice.
All right.
Yeah, get some...
You know what?
Maybe
I think
leather
right.
and a strap.
Bang my wife, dog? All right, why not? See what that guy does. He just sits in a chair and watches. I feel bad for him the whole time.
The worst
until
ones
I'm
are
done.
the ones with the guy who sits there and watches too. There's a weird old guy who just...
Can I watch that guy bang your wife?
No, it's like his thing. It's like, okay, so today we're going to take a look.
I like that. And I don't know that that's
You
an
do?
actual... No, I like this idea. I think there's money there. It's not bang my wife, please. It's watch some guy bang my wife with me, please.com. And it's just neighbor who doesn't know what he's getting into. It's like, watch this. And you just drag Frank over to the house. What are we doing? Because that's how you'd sound.
It's Torp.
Yeah. Hey, that's your wife, Megan there. All right. Oh, my God. Who's that? That's a man named Julio Gomez. Jeez Louise. He could...
Norm McDonald's my new favorite.
Torp sounds just like... Torp is my co-host's dad, just like Old Man McDonald, which it's
and he had a farm.
Yeah, he did. No, it's very. Hey.
And on that farm, we had some cock.
With a cock-a-doodle-doo. That guy could break a pane of glass.
Hey, there, get a streaker, you know.
I asked him he's 85, and I said, when's the last time you had a quality erection? Hey, geez, and he's really conservative with like sex was gross. And he once said to me, he goes, I never understood that whole thing about what you do to a lady. Her hair pie. I'm like, Torp, what are you talking about? He goes, people will put their, it's a sewer.
It's a sewer.
Torp is hilarious. But, watch someone bang my wife with me.
Seems like a lot of words.
Yeah, but people would type it if it was. If you get a laugh and a tug, laugh and a tug. That's my new Frank Caliendo's new channel on his Caliendo.
Scott,
laugh and tug.
Holmberg and I have been going back and forth. A new feature that we're going to bring up that came from the Adam Ray episode somewhat is we're going to do Madden Summerall play-by-play of porn. We haven't figured out exactly how we're going to do it.
Well, we can test it out now. I have something at the ready.
Yeah?
It,
sure.
Frank, it's time. There's no comedy that's ever going to come back, so you might as well.
He's right.
Oh yeah, I've given up. I told my agent that I'm filthy now. He's like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm filthy."
Why wouldn't you be?
Oh, I go. It's so much fun. I just say,
See, no, I think the old radio voices are better for this because if people can't see the actual porn, you have to have full radio. Like the Madden Summerall would have to be pretty in depth. Let's see.
I think you could do it. You do the play-by-play, and I do color. I think it's going to work. You just want to get into some Vince Scully, though.
Oh, I do Vince. Well, I didn't even think of that until just now, but now I do. But yeah, I'm trying to say because they, TV guys get the picture tells the story.
I think Tom Brenneman's a little too aggressive. He's a little too aggressive.
I'm just going to go ahead and whip it out and finish. When I'm done, I'll tell you what I saw.
I take it back. It was perfect.
This is Secret Crush.
Oh, here we go, Jim Tony.
Hello, friends. We're going to watch Dancing at Home in Isolation and Squirting with My Vibrator. Tony?
Oh, Jim, this is going to be really, really good. It's going to be a cleanup on aisle 5, but before that, we're going to be really excited.
My good friend has asked me to scrub ahead, so I will.
Just may go forward. Do they have those little niches, those little marks where it tells you something's going to be sneakier? Oh, Jim.
You do participate.
Absolutely. Every single minute.
You know about the notches on
I
the
never
line.
understand why they're there sometimes and why they aren't. Like
My thumb clogs them. I'm like, I'm closer. I went over. I don't know what that was supposed to be. Did I miss it? I get angry at the
Do you
notches.
watch it on your phone, John?
I've been known to do that time and again.
I
have it on my phone. I throw it onto the smart TV.
Do you really?
Yeah. Oh,
You
okay.
put it in the air? I would.
Yeah,
I mean, I worry
I mic
about-
TV my porn.
You mic
He doesn't have
I mic
kids.
TV it. Yeah, I throw it
He
up.
does has no kids, Frank. So
Yeah, I can do it right in the middle of the
live.
room.
Here's a little story for you. I Augustus Gloop mine.
Oh no, don't please. Well, I'll let you do this.
Freedom.
John, explain what's happening here.
I mean, you look at, she got a device.
That's called a butt plug, John.
Yeah. You know, it's not really plugging everything up. You'd think that it would, but she's working it, and it's kind of a jewel on the end of it. I mean,
It's been bejeweled, John.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where you're just romancing the stone right there, and you look at it, and she's wiggling around. She's going to the right. She's going to the left, and there was a cut. I mean,
It's a quick jump cut. What do you think of her socks, John?
I mean, rainbow bright all the way. Hey, put a tail on that thing. You got a My Little Pony.
If you turn your head, it'll make you hungry for a ham sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe the size of that thing. It looks like a little thing when it's in there. Boom, you pull it out. I mean, it looks like she caught a fish.
That's called gaping, Johon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's one of those kind of things. Now she's taking her. What did she put in her mouth there? That's is that? Oh, that's her underwear.
Her underpants.
That's her underpants. Well, there wasn't much to them, but I'll tell you what.
I thought she was going to floss for a second.
Okay, she's spread eagle like she's at the gynecologist, but there's no gynecologist.
Fairly aggressive gynecologist.
Yeah, I mean, but what I do like is that she's got glasses on, because anyone with glasses, that means they're classy.
Studious.
Studious.
She studies her craft.
I think maybe next time you got to get more than one person on the screen so we can describe more action.
That's my last little dance.
That
I didn't
was
do anything with her, though.
No,
I didn't-
with her.
I didn't like
Wait a second.
It counts.
It does not.
It counts.
No.
If you live in your world of facts, I live in my world of facts. It
Oh
counts.
my goodness.
She's a lovely lady.
Did you just CNN yourself?
We'll be right back. That's what you do when you're. That's what you do when you're.
I don't get anything out of Solo.
No, I don't either. I don't like that. You know what really shock you? I don't really get much out of the whole lesbian porn. I for a few seconds, I can't go the full 9 with that.
I like it.
I like
it. I do. You know what? I've discovered that
the only way that would have been worse if there was
never-
a bush in front of him when he said that.
A burning bush.
That little tiny bush he pocked. I like it. Whoa. Sorry, Scott. Go ahead.
I have not evolved at all in what I like in my pornography. Like I still all the same scenarios I still like that I liked when I was 18, and I can watch a movie like with an older woman, and I will picture myself as like I'm 20, like I'm the dude that's
Some
20.
expired lady?
Well, she's not expired. She's
Sure she is.
28.
Oh, that's well, close. 2 more
That's
years.
what most of. I was listening to a podcast on this subject. And
Wait,
how
what's the podcast?
It was like a
Tavis
some guy
Smiley.
that was like an intellectual podcast.
Oh, I
But
thought it was like
about
I thought
porn.
it was a porn podcast, like porn.
No.
pod.
Well, but it was a story behind the porn world, and at 23 to 27 or something like that age, the girls are done, and then they can come back when they're 28 because they become MILFs. Between that 23 to 27,
So there's a
their
year
careers
off?
are over.
Oh, 23
I don't know
to
where they
27. So there's 4 years.
I hate to even come up with it. Is that their gap year?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
And then they,
Gay
then they
years.
can go on for as long as they can continue to pretend.
So
like
the guys are just continuous? Does it end for guys?
the guys can hang in there.
There's a lot of guys in there
it's
that
not-
are
It's not
old.
about the guys,
Yeah. No.
but it is.
yeah.
But
you-
it is about the guys.
when the guy's no good, I tune out.
Yeah.
If I feel like I'm better than him, this is no longer a fantasy.
I've never felt I'm better.
Really? I'll look and I'll be like, "Come on, guy,
Couple
you're missing
times,
all the
yeah.
missing all the throws here." I'm watching game tape here. I'm like, "Well, you're late on every out route. What are you doing?" Go to somebody else.
Oh, how'd you miss that one?
How'd you miss that? He's wide open.
Oh,
I don't know what's
He's
going
wide
on.
open. Now we know what you're watching.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I've been there.
The day. Accidentally.
We'll be right back.
Niche.
Matt Ramsey. Do you understand Matt Ramsey?
I
Frank?
know Matt Ramsey.
What's Matt Ramsey?
Matt Ramsey was Peter North's gay porn
Yeah.
name.
Oh.
He, he did 2 movies as Matt Ramsey.
For a couple extra bucks, you know.
Yeah.
How did we get on
I feel
that?
like I'm an historian.
Well, it's because we are porn rioters.
That's right. Because
It's funny
You know
because
what? Rather stay at home
when
and
I-
jerk off than watch TV and what's going on.
When I listened to my son do his podcast, all they were talking about was OnlyFans. That's all of a sudden like that. that
Really?
was- yeah, they were talking. I didn't even know really what it was.
I
And then
don't even know what it is.
you don't know?
No.
It's-
What is that?
I guess it's kind of like a new porn thing. Like a totally, look it up. OnlyFans. It's
.com.
I don't know if it's homemade or
Oh,
It's
or
it's
is it
basically
like a porn-
here expert Toledo.
no, it's basically the Patreon of porn. So OnlyFans is you subscribe to a certain porn actress's channel and you get all of her content, but you're paying for it. So she provides content for her OnlyFans page that she gets paid. She doesn't have to go through anybody else. She gets it. It's kind of like a
Direct
GoFundMe.
to you.
Yes. Yes.
I think we got something new.
I do too.
I think we're gonna.
Well,
I think
You two
once-
haven't had a
another
job all year, so let's get on this.
once
thing.
a month or once a week. Once a month seems like a bad time period. It's
a lot.
Again, bad choice of words. But maybe we subscribe to one, and that's who we.
That's
do.
who we're doing.
Then we make them huge. Again, not exactly the right.
You think we'll help them out? We're the missing link to their
I
success.
think
They've done all they can do.
listen,
now
haven't
it's up
you
to
heard?
us.
The porn industry is struggling.
That's true. That is
They're
true.
Jake. They need
they?
Jake Paul.
That's true. They need them to riot inside of one of those.
Hey there, the porn industry's getting better.
I watched Norm tell a joke once about porn and how he hated when they got safe for a while with condoms. Yeah, because the last thing I want to do right before I jerk off is think about AIDS. They always used to show a guy with a condom on. I want to see him wearing a condom. Yeah.
I love that that's what you remember him. I remember watching him. I went to see a show, and he talked about Coke and Pepsi for the first 10 minutes, and it was some of the funniest stuff I'd ever seen, but some of the people just didn't get it. He's like, hey, you get a Coke, and I don't want one of those Coca-Cola. I want a Pepsi, and they gave me a Coke, and I said, hey, that's not what I asked for, you bitch. Yes, I'm watching the Pornhub. You ever been on the Pornhub? And they said where those little niches are, that it can get more exciting, and it'll actually match up with the title. That's what it does.
Oh, is that it?
Might be. I just realized that. Might be where you match up with the title there. Hey, you get one of those. What do they call those things in a movie title with the not a subscript, but what do they call that with the subtitle?
Oh,
Not a
subtitle.
The
That's
subtitle.
a foreign film. That's a foreign porn.
No. But you ever get that? You ever go
Foreign
to
porn?
Yeah. Did you ever get to all the porn I love just happens to be German? And I'm watching and the guy and I'm like, Hey, that guy reminds me of Michael Knight. Remember Michael Knight?
Oh, yeah.
Because
right.
Germans love David Hasselhoff, you know? You got,
We'll be right back.
we'll be right back. How many we'll be right back?
That's 3. I've done 3. I'm doing them all. I don't know.
Now
keep
that
cutting.
you guys are back together, and I'm not really part of the show again, I'm really trying hard not to cut into any.
Oh, you've been great. It's been a really fun
I know.
show.
Fantastic. You're doing great at not doing
Till now, it was fantastic.
I know. Here, I got a point. It's all about anger and jealousy. Okay, so John can take his phone and just hit the button on whatever TV he wants and watch whatever he wants because there are no children there.
Fact.
Frank has a second house that he can walk to
No.
and enjoy
A jerk
some
house.
of this stuff.
No.
Correct? Where are you watching this?
A tug house.
Me? Oh, it's been
Yeah.
years since I've seen any. I just
I
remember.
just know about the
Hotel
notches
rooms.
on the new. It's pretty,
when you're on
pretty
the
good.
road. Okay. Me reminds me of our mutual friend Ron Sexton, Frank, who's also known as a guy named Donnie Baker. And his theory, he called it the looking back the runner.
Oh, yeah, that's a
method,
great bit.
where he's like looking over his shoulder. One of the greatest jokes
That's awesome.
ever. It's like looking over his shoulder like he's got a guy in first.
He's chasing Lou Brock back to the bag. I like that. That's hilarious.
And
Lube-
that sounds like a porn title right there.
Lube-
Chasing Lou Brock back to the bag.
No, Lube
That's-
Rock. Lube Rock.
Lou Brock.
Lou Brock.
No,
Yeah.
Lube
Yeah,
Rock.
get a little Jack Hammer in there with Lou Brock.
It's my dog's name. Jack Hammer.
Is it really?
Well, Jack Ham. But we call him Jack Hammer.
Jack
Jack
Ham.
Jack Raphael Ham is my dog's name.
Sure.
59 Hall of Famer. That's right. You all right?
We're right back. No, I was thinking. I actually wanted to start the show. We're gonna have to go back and start.
We have not started the show.
No, this is
I've gotta
all
go home
pre-roll.
eventually.
This is
Oh
all
my
pre-roll.
God.
Um,
The Tab a Smiley joke it went for nothing, Toledo.
I know. I was really hoping that one to
Yeah.
take off.
I didn't know that was not in the show.
no, none of this.
Oh.
None of that. So we're just
Well,
gonna
this is a
start
waste
the
of
show
time.
now. No, because I wanted to. I've been Toledo's been getting on me about benchmarks and stuff like that, and complaints or observations and complaints. And one of the we'll Tarantino this episode.
All right. Yeah.
This is the
It's
beginning
not
of the
chronologically proper.
episode. No, it wouldn't have to be.
Welcome back, everybody.
No, one of the things I saw, and to get back to before we got off on porn tangents, which also sounds like its own site, porntangent.com. Check it.
Yeah, buy that one, no
I
daddy.
might get on that.
GoDaddy sounds
that
like
could've been.
everything sounds like.
Go Daddy's the number
I
one.
think you need to
Yeah,
take a
that's-
break real quick
Why?
because everything is pornographic to you right
I
now.
love it.
Go Daddy.
Yeah. Well, when people are watching the podcast, we're going to put little notches,
whenever Frank got a little excited.
and here's one of those moments. Tony, oh Jim, I'm done.
John, are you partially erect?
I mean, if you look at what's happening right now, I mean, it's getting ready for the B gap, going into the A gap, and then boom. It's a sewer down there.
You smell like butterscotch and fish, John.
There's no scotch. I just broke those words down. Butter, scotch.
That's me. I'm the scotch smell.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Pat. Funny meeting you here. Hey,
What, they ran into each other?
you know what? I don't
Oh, hey, John.
think. Hey, those aren't fingers we just touched, are they?
My God, no, and you don't want to know where mine's been.
Turn on your porn light.
Pants down and long.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, oh boy, you just learned something new about me.
You're a whore.
You had gotten Madden on your side, Frank, and I'm just afraid his grandson's going to play this for him. He's like, I knew that Caliendo was no good.
Why
He's
would his grandson?
brought it to
His
a
grandson's
whole
the
place.
bad guy in that scenario. Yeah. Why in the world is grandson? Hey, Dad, Grandpa, come here. You got to hear this. You.
What?
Here's the guy making my heart stop.
I was doing what? Pat and I were. Wait a second. So why are we touching wiener?
We're docking, John. We're trying to dock.
The thing is, he was the coach of the Raiders, and
That would be great. Hold on, just the Caliendo.
They're his last words before he explodes.
Instead of his head exploding.
Okay. He's not going to money shot out. There's no
That's how I go.
possibility.
That's how I'm going, John.
John Madden died. He ejaculated and passed away with the last word, Caliendo. And I'm eulogizing him from heaven.
Yeah, and you can look at it right here. Boom.
From my Duxie
my
anime.
hands look like Fred Bolifnikov's.
Look at that. Look at that. Oh, there's a little Dave Casper right there.
Ghost to the post, John.
Oh, yeah, they make it happen.
You're disgusting. The holy roller. Not so immaculate reception, John.
What were you going to say, Scott?
Back to the riots.
No, I'm saying that John Madden was the coach of the most vile team of all time. Those guys were famous. I mean, Ben Davidson was in Behind the Green Door.
That's right.
I mean,
Madden was in on
it. They were wild. That team was as wild as ever. And then he's Mr. Madison Avenue doing all these commercials. But he had to see more vile shit than any team ever. There was all convicts on his team.
That's true. He had to bust in for curfew in the hotel rooms and see some absolutely awful things.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Right.
seen. I saw. When you're there and you got Dave Casper upside down, and you're thinking, which end am I looking at? Boom. I mean, this isn't getting a pizza delivered.
Now let's tell him why Kenny Stabler was the snake, John.
Yeah. I mean, he could unclog a toilet
He's the drain snake.
with that thing. I mean, you don't need a plumber. You just needed to show Kenny.
Did you ever have a plumbing problem and you didn't call a plumber, you called Kenny?
Yeah, you did, and you just had to have the right magazine. And if you had the right magazine, boom, he'd put. I mean, right through. I mean,
The old drain snake.
Basically, I mean, it was like Shawshank Redemption right there. I mean, just going through. You have it go at the same time as the lightning and the thunder, and just explodes all over the place. And then you're being chased by dogs and trying to get to Zihuatanejo.
You missed your friend.
I do. I miss my friend Kenny.
And stupid scene. This is silly.
No, I want. Okay, so I want to backtrack and let's start the show again. So,
Again.
no, one of the things I saw, and this is, I know we're going way back, but
Just pictured Ken Stabler with a dick so big it's a drain snake, and that's what he decided to use it for instead of personal pleasure. He decided to use it for plumbing needs of friends.
Well, they used to call him.
Don't call a plumber. I got this.
His porn name was Kenny Stapler, because he could punch it. I mean, he could punch it and things would stick together afterward. I mean,
The old swing line.
yeah. I mean, you look at all the stuff that happens there. And
My dick's so big, but I want to use it for good.
you got to use it for good instead of evil.
I want to unclog people's
He had a regular.
I don't know why that's so funny to me. Because he's just driving around realizing he's got this gift. He's abusing it for his own pleasures. I have to use this for a good in the world. I have a drain snake for a dick. Why is that so funny? I haven't been here for. Did you put something in the air vents?
this is one of those
Just 'cause it would be an alone drive when you realize today everything changes.
Today is the day. There's a lot of things that I've seen, and I set Kenny Stapler down and I said, "Buddy, here, you can do good with this, or you can do something great with this.
Recognized it.
Look at this. Look at that thing.
It's
Look at that thing. I mean,
stupid.
you think you're here for football, but you're here for another reason.
You're the snake.
You're the snake."
Drain snake. I don't know why that's funny to me. I'm
There were
sorry.
actually two guys that were even bigger on the team.
Well, I bet there were more
There
than
was
that.
one guy, Otis Cis Trunk. He actually had
Oh,
a
yeah.
cis trunk. And then there was Cliff branch.
Oh,
He
geez.
actually had a branch.
Are you just
treat.
wait a second?
You just looked up the lineup.
You're just looking at their names and then
No, I
likening them
remember
to
the team.
sticks.
I can't tell you.
Wait, how do
can't
you know?
tell you
Where do you
about
get
John
this
Gruden's
information?
league.
Wait, is this you on the internet again?
Yeah. He Googled it.
No, this is my brain. I know that team. I don't know the current Oakland Raiders.
I'll tell you what, man.
or
We got a
Las
couple
Vegas
guys.
Raiders.
We don't have any drain snakes, but you know what we got? Got a couple garden weasels, man.
If Gruden walked through the
Have you
locker
seen
room,
Max Crosby?
had to tell a guy that he thinks his calling is no longer football, but home plumbing.
You hear what Kenny Stabler used to do, man? He used to clean drains with that thing, man.
That's so
I heard something. I don't know how it came together. It didn't make a lot of sense, but something about Shawshank Redemption and his cock, man. I was listening to some podcast where guys just kept laughing
dumb.
for no reason.
That is so dumb.
good
I feel like I'm in a slumber party and trying not to wake my dad. Just laughing at the dumbest shit.
What about the stork?
Yeah. Hold on, let me guess. He had a stork.
He had a bird for a dick. Delivered babies.
Stork.
He made the babies right there.
It made him like one stop. It was like a Build-A-Bear. Just, baby,
That's
here,
gotta be
I
one
give
of
you
the worst
life.
nicknames ever, right?
The stork.
The stork. That was just like.
Yeah. Who was
that's
the
a bad
stork?
nickname.
Bolitnikoff?
Ted Hendricks.
Oh,
was
that's
the
right.
stork.
Hendricks was a stork. That's right.
Terrible name.
Anyway.
It's like somebody named him the stork, and they're like, "Hey, you're the stork," and you're like, "No, I'm not. I don't like that nickname." And then everybody like took it. I hate that.
Can we get back to what we should
Yeah.
be really happy about? I'm with you, Scott. Can we get back to what makes everybody happy is that one distraction for our entire nation and coronavirus just doesn't matter anymore at all.
You know, the news went from a 24-hour cycle of that
Constantly giving us information we needed.
straight to all you hear on CNN is plumbing cocks.
That's it. They just went right down to what are you using your dick for? Good or self-satisfaction, you selfish bastards.
Yeah, I listen, I don't know what to think. It's off of everybody's mind, and Juliet keeps telling me this, who shouldn't listen to this podcast.
Please don't.
Yeah. Juliet keeps telling me, she goes, why are all these people, or these are all the same people who are telling us we had to stay inside all the time, are the same people that are out rioting together now. I'm like, nothing's going to make sense. Don't try and make sense out of it.
Not one person has said, and also, I've not even heard that. Like, look at all these people gathering. And also, with the social distancing problems, we're going to have another problem on our hands after this. Not one person's even seemed concerned about the gatherings, about anything.
Well, especially the media people don't
Who
say
have just
anything
been angry
about
at
that.
people. Like, they've been outwardly angry prior to this when there's that Lake of the Ozarks thing, which turned out to be
I know.
kind of a goof. People were
Wait a second. I don't
visceral.
know about that.
Lake of the Ozarks. It's actually
I saw the image.
right, the image. So somebody tested positive from that.
Okay.
I
with
think
the
6.
coronavirus. 6 now, right? Yeah. So one guy came back and said, "I had it. I was in that pool. What? And I now have corona." So now they're testing all these people. If you were in this pool, just this sea of humanity at the Lake of the Ozarks, now somebody came back and said, "I had the coronavirus." The news was visceral. They were angry. Like, how in the world can people be doing this? And we were warned. We were told. Blah 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 blah. And now you see the exact same scenarios in every major metropolitan city, and they're like, not even mentioning it. Not even saying,
Right.
there's a danger that this could spread something else on top of being,
A cultural issue on top of a cultural issue.
Yeah, 2 pandemics bashing into each other, really. I mean, systemic racism plus an actual pandemic. And not to make it sound like one isn't, but
You know who could fix this?
the snake.
The snake.
He used to be able to
I mean, he'd just
plumb
get
the
out
problem
there.
out.
He'd get out there and wave it around. I mean, you try and fire at that thing, it could block. I mean, I don't think it could bend in places where it bent. I mean, but it does.
It had an elbow, John.
Yeah. I mean, it had a couple of joints.
Double jointed.
This was the thing that was bothering me and the complaint thing from the beginning of the show that I never got to, which was that I'll force it in. People keep telling me that because I get ripped for not putting anything out. I put out a couple things about good cops and stuff like that. And like silence is the enemy here. I'm like, I will only say something if I come up with an idea that I haven't heard already.
Just to say something.
Just to say something, to be heard, to be in that.
That's what people
like
think
Carson
is
Wentz
action.
had that really nice. Did you see the thing Carson Wentz came out with? A really well written piece. But Toledo, can you pull that up?
But
somewhere?
to go back to Ken Stabler, when there was civil unrest in the 70s, did anybody go, Ken Stabler didn't say anything? Why does that matter now?
But where are you supposed to say it? We've said it now on the podcast. We talked about it. If I don't go on Twitter and make a statement there, on Instagram, put it up on YouTube, did you just kill Scott?
And you also have to say the right thing. If you went on and said something like what we said here on Twitter, I think we can say it here. I think this is a freer forum.
I'm here.
No, he's there. But I think if you said what we said, which is like, I'm waiting to have all the facts back on what I believe to be a terrible incident that occurred in Minneapolis before I say anything, you'd get killed. And that's really what we're saying. That's a responsible...
Yeah, like you're supposed to come out and say something without knowing anything.
Yeah.
That's my whole life is predicated on I'm going to wait and say I've been too much about
Right.
that. Being too careful until you've heard this podcast.
Today you changed it. But yeah, I mean, there's a thing that says what I saw is disturbing and awful. There's a problem, but I want to wait for all the facts before I come out with an absolute.
And what about the picture with the guy who was "Make America White Again"? And they
Fake.
were saying that was the cop, and it
him.
wasn't.
And I've seen plenty of people react to that. Celebrities and everything else saying this is what and they're getting really angry, and I'm like, that is not a fact,
Right.
And it's going to now go into your brain as one because you made up your mind so fast. And I understand it. I get why people are angry. I get why they're making these decisions, but we're so quick to say I want facts. We've got Twitter. President just said Twitter doesn't count anymore, even though he keeps tweeting that they're going to fact check me and all this, but everybody who demands that he tells the truth and demands that everything is fact-checked is reacting off this. I don't know why Carson Wentz matters so much to you that his opinion changes or your opinion of him changes if he doesn't say anything.
But he did say something that...
And he probably can't. I'm not saying he shouldn't. I'm saying the fact that it matters is a thing. Like Carson Wentz coming out and saying, hey, man, it's right there. All I know that institutional racism in this country breaks my heart, needs to stop. I can't even fathom what the black community has gone or endured on a daily basis.
And that's a great... See, that's
Right
what's
there.
important. Is that's the most important thing is that he's saying that I can't understand it, and that was...
Don't pretend you
But then
can.
5 or... Like, I saw 1,000 other versions of that. I'm going, but now you're just saying it because he said it.
It's the opaque flag over a tragedy on your Facebook page.
When he truly cannot understand it, because until he got to the Eagles, he grew up in North Dakota,
It's true.
where there are practically no African Americans, and then he played at a Division I AA school that did not hardly have any African Americans either.
Yeah.
So, quite frankly, he can't quite understand what.
But none of us
It's
can.
one of those things like.
But he said that in his
I
statement.
totally agree.
Right,
Yeah.
but that's the whole point is he said it, and then
Yeah.
but everybody else, they want you to say the same thing, and I'm like, but it's already been said. I don't need to...
Because
I
there's
don't-
my black and white issue. If you don't say it, you're on the other side.
Right, which makes
And
no
that's
sense.
not true. It's like saying, I support the black community. I also support the police. That's why I love what Killer Mike said. If you get a chance, it was on the Atlanta News.
Yeah, he's so...
Check it out because he nailed every point, and somehow or another, through all of the sense he made, he harnessed the lack of knowledge and he harnessed the helplessness.
Yes.
And
He was very vulnerable.
yeah, it was great.
Which for you think about that for a rapper to do something
Unreal.
like that, and he was holding back tears the whole time, and it didn't look.
Yeah.
And he was the reluctant messenger.
I don't want to be here.
That was what was.
Yeah.
You know how they always talk about George Washington did not want to be president. That's the stuff that always scares me. When you want to be president, that's
Something's
the
wrong
thing
with you.
that you shouldn't want that. Yeah, it's.
Well, I'm seeing that with police. I don't know why you want to be a cop. I honestly don't
I've
know
never
why
understood
you
it in
want
the first place.
Yeah.
I'm one of the biggest cowards in the world. I've said that on many occasions, and like when I'm around people who can do stuff like that, and you feel like I said, we talked about there are the people who do it for the right reasons. You have people you question their motives. When you're around people that have that in them, and you go, geez, I don't know how you like
do it?
anybody who serves in the armed forces. I go, I could never do it. I'm way
The only
too
reason I would have done it is because I couldn't find another job. That's my cowardice. Like if somebody said, hey, the only option you've got left is the military, the only way I've done it, because I know for a fact I wouldn't have been good at it. I'm not brave in that regard. I'm not.
Yeah, and you don't. I mean, you
I don't have
follow any rules.
Well, I'd follow the rules.
No.
Shut up. I'm leaving. We'll be right back. But I admire. I can tell this story real quick. When I was on that ride along with my cop friend, it was Phoenix. We were on a 12-hour ride along. We got into a car chase. There was a stolen car. I had the greatest ride along of all time. You couldn't make a movie out of my ride along. It was incredible. But we had a little downtime. We were in a bad section of town, and Ben and I were talking about the situation with race. And he goes, a lot of us have bad experiences in bad parts of town that scare us. We're scared. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the people in those areas have had horrible experiences with us. And it is a tinderbox. And he goes, watch this. Watch this. And he pulled over at a bus stop that had predominantly African-American, if not all. A woman, her 2 kids, and a bunch of guys. When he pulled up, it was busy, probably 3 or 4 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. Pulled up, every guy there, like you could sense trouble. We got out of the car. I got out with him. I'm in regular clothes. And everybody started going, MF. The first guy that said it, MF, blah, 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 starting to yell at him. What do you want? What are you doing? We ain't done nothing wrong. Ben's like, I'm not saying anything. He's a great guy. And he's like, I didn't know what he was going to do. And now it's 1 guy, now it's 4 guys, now it's about 5 or 6 guys screaming out, get the out of here, we didn't do anything, we don't have to answer to you, and he hasn't said a word. Goes in, opens the trunk of his car, and grabs, after I see, out of a bag of about 10 stuffed animals, and walks over to the kids and said, I want you guys to have positive thoughts of the police officers. That's all I'm here to do. And the mother said, that's beautiful, I'm sorry for what's going on around us. And he put it down, and he's like, oh, I see what you're doing, and they stayed mad. We got back in the car, and he goes, you can see where somebody who's not quite stable-minded goes into that situation and starts getting yelled at, and he doesn't have anger control, and he doesn't have the ability to do this, accelerates that before he decelerates it.
Yes.
And I was blown away.
Did they test the cops' mental?
That's what I think the solution to this would be. Is consistent 6 to 10 month tests on your mental stability. Now again,
and it
that
doesn't
would
even
get watered
have to
down
be
there.
from work. I mean,
No.
there's enough going on at work, but it can be stuff at home that goes to the. And I'm not defending here at all. This is how you try and fix some of that stuff.
I totally
and we just
agree.
don't understand each other's cultures. Yeah. I've seen a couple of great cops. The one cop in Flint who had it said sheriff on the front, and he said, "What do you guys want me to do? What can I do to make you guys happier?" Or
he put the baton down,
and they said, "March with us." He goes, "Okay, we're going to march with you." And he took the mask, the mask, and everything.
Is he the
off.
one that said, "I want this to be a parade"? I don't want.
Yes,
that was amazing.
He was fantastic.
Where's the news on that? By the way, I had to find.
Yeah, but see, that's on the internet. That's Rex Chapman's putting that out.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah, Rex Chapman put that out.
That was phenomenal.
You see some
Could you
good
imagine
people.
that though? I mean, it's utopia.
They have no interest in that. It doesn't sell.
But
anything.
not the news. I'm saying it's a utopia. It's fantasies and unicorns. If the police on the front lines of a riot took all their helmets off and dropped it and said, let's march together. I don't know. I don't know if the other side would know what to do. I don't know if the police would know how to handle that properly.
What if they broke into song?
If somebody just said, gotta dance, and the
we're gonna make it together.
It's like the end of Grease 2. If they had a choreographed like dance line and like, guys, we're just here to sing and dance. We didn't do this.
Summer mobbing had me a blast.
Summer looting happened so fast.
Met a guy was crazy for me.
I met a girl who stole me some shoes.
It doesn't rhyme, but it doesn't have to.
Oh, this song really sucks.
Tell me less.
We don't know all the words. I'm going to riot over this. What is wrong in this room? I waited 3 months to come back to this.
Please finger bump after that, please. Do a little finger bump.
Oh, what was that over there?
It's summer loving. Happens so fast.
Summer loving.
Don't do it again.
Saw me some gash.
Summer loving. I just threw up. Kenny Stabler likes ass.
Murder.
All right, don't do it. We're done.
John,
be
I've known Frank
right back.
for 20 years, and I've never seen him behave like this publicly ever.
Told you when
I'm
my agent
telling
knows
you.
I'm dirty.
It's because there's a dentist that put the gas in this room. Something
Oh
ain't
my
right.
gosh! In 6 months, he's going to be a total alcoholic. He's never drank. Within a year,
You're blaming me, aren't you?
Oh yeah, and you're going to be just happier and
Yeah, it's
happier.
true.
This is
True.
the fucking show Holmberg
We're
has
switching.
dreamed of since the beginning.
What if you become very prudish? You're
I'm
like,
Francis,
Francis,
we can't do that.
I'm not sure if that's what we should be
Gotta
doing.
protect the money, Frank.
You know, the of age models on the visual devices are not inclined to have huge humor thrown at them. Francis, what is this?
On the flip side of all this silliness, sorry to take over here. It's what I do for a living, so I can't help it. What are you guys distracting yourselves with through it all? Is there anything that you're like, I can't take it anymore?
Well, I was doing a bunch of internet stuff.
Yeah.
You mean like that? Like I was
Yeah,
was
anything
making a
that
bunch of
gets you
videos,
away
but
from
then-
the TV.
So I was supposed to do. I haven't watched a lot to be. I just started watching some of it because I felt like I haven't been paying enough attention, and I realized I was smarter not to be watching. But I was supposed to do a couple national things this week, including Good Morning Football, and I emailed them and said, I don't think it's the right. I
Good call.
don't think it's good for you. I don't think it's good for me.
Those poor people have to fill so much time.
Well, on a sports show, it's when this was my thinking though. On a sports show, and I watched Sports Center this morning, and there was a 3-minute dissertation on how they're just trying to do sports. There's so much going on in the world and all this type of stuff, and I went. I've made the right decision not to do that because they were setting it up. We're going to do sports anyways. To go on a sports show on a sports network and do comedy, that not the right thing to do. I could just see people watching going, this is tasteless. This doesn't fit with what's going on. Now,
especially because you can't control what they do on either side of you.
But to me, I go, you can laugh and have little jokes in your own moments on the show,
Right.
and it'll be natural and work. But to bring somebody on and do a comedy segment, because we know it's just going to be rapid fire impressions and that type of stuff, it's going to be like, I think it's the wrong thing, and they immediately agreed. So maybe they even had that idea themselves. But I haven't even been putting stuff out online that much. The only thing I put on was because Bob and Doug McKenzie were up on the SpaceX shuttle, and I just did a, hey, we're going to go in space. Okay, I got to have a shower kind of thing. Okay, sounds pretty good. Like they're looking down at Earth and it's,
All right, eh? Here we go.
yeah, I thought it was going to be a little easier than it was there, eh?
Got to launch up there, eh? Get that Elsinore beer up to the International Space Station, eh?
I was not ready for your Dave.
Rosie La Rose, eh?
I wasn't ready for that to be that good. I got to be honest with you. I want to call
Come
him.
on, follow me, eh?
I keep wanting to call him
It
Dave
is
Matthews.
good.
What's his
Dave Thomas.
Dave Thomas.
Started Wendy's, eh?
Yeah. Okay. Well, good day. All right.
Good day.
Today we're discussing what's on Doug's porn.
Good day. We're going to take porn into space, eh? We're going to see what it looks like floating around. Right?
Hey, okay. This might be a little bit out of our range, but I was looking at this the other day. In America, or in the United States, they have a football team, and they have a quarterback, or used to.
Yeah, the old drain snake, eh?
Yeah.
Heard about that.
You saw? He cleaned toilets, eh? We could bring it back anyway.
Good callback. Rick. When did we get so informal with our astronauts? This is Doug and Bob. Armstrong. Aldrin. Doug. Bob. No.
Yeah.
I need power. And one's Benkin. And, they had good names and stuff. We had Gus Grissom. And they never ever said Gus and Buzz.
I break in. I was at his boyhood home last week.
Real Gus Grissom?
Really? I like the way you
Yes.
just rioted into this conversation.
No,
Let me break in.
He needs a breaking glass sound. Yeah. That is weird. Well, that Gus Grissom.
100% because it happened.
And also, there's a lot of space talk. So it's pretty high.
Oh, is that you now? Is this new character you have? The 100% it fucking happened? Did you say that to me?
Yeah.
I've been so quiet during this damn show, and then you go, well, yeah, 100% it happened.
And now the only thing you do is
Well, my
state
friend-
the obvious,
My friend Jason Wiesman used to say that all the time. 100%. That it happened. So I
Oh, I hate him.
Wheezy.
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
Oh.
Aren't you just glad though that the Bob and Doug McKenzie space shuttle didn't get jinxed by 2020, I kept texting you going, this thing's got a 27-second
I think
shelf life. There's no way this
Yeah, I thought you were
all bad.
disappointed when it didn't blow
No,
up.
I was so happy, but I'm like, why are we doing this? It's like, hey, the house is on fire. You guys want to jump rope? What are we doing? Don't throw dudes into space when everything else seems to be breaking it like constantly.
Yeah, when I was watching it, it was so odd because they kept saying Bob and Doug.
Yeah.
And
Can't they say Doug and Bob once just to make it so my brain doesn't do that?
And then I said, I sent out a tweet that was something like, and we now go to Aurora, Illinois to hear from Wayne and Garth on the situation. Maybe Bill and Ted, I'm from the future. This isn't going to end well.
Whoa.
Rufus.
Guys, what the fuck is going on here? Did you guys hear about that cock?
Rufus is in the back of the thing.
This is John. This is Frank when you were in the car with him
Yeah,
that one
yeah.
time.
The Rodney Dangerfield, the most disturbed.
Yeah.
Listen,
Rodney
I got no corporate show.
Yeah, you got nothing
I don't
to
have
protect.
to worry about it. I don't.
You can do your
and
thing.
everybody else keeps telling me, hey, I do whatever I want, and I still do my one corporate show a year. I'm like, well, I'll
true.
get down to that one corporate show a year.
Be you, Frank. Authentic you is fun.
Filthy me. I'm telling you, when I told my agent, he goes, you're blowing my mind. That's not all I'm blowing.
You don't have to go crazy. You're new to it. You're dancing.
Yeah,
in the pool
I'm
for the
working
first
real.
time.
I'm
You'll
working.
get there.
I'm working hard.
All right, I get it.
Yeah.
Put that thing away, eh?
Okay.
Poser.
Yeah, that's gonna work out pretty well.
I wanted them, because of the Bob and Doug thing, to just have that moment where they're touch screens and one reaches over and touches the other one and there's a little pop. Like, yeah, it's quit it, Hoser, and they're just slap fighting like they always do in the movie. It was just so strange.
Here, let's open up this tang. Okay. The first thing I sent,
gotta pee, eh?
oh boy. The first thing I sent to John was a clip from Far Out Space Nuts. Do you remember that, Scott?
Oh, yeah.
It was
No,
the
Rex.
other Bob Denver
Yeah.
vehicle. I shouldn't be explaining this.
The after
Oh,
Gilligan's
no, I
Island.
don't.
to bring a Salehi.
I
in.
don't
Yeah.
know that.
Oh, you
it's-
don't know? Far Out
No
Space
one
Nuts?
does. Don't
thought
feel
you-
bad.
Oh, I was thinking space balls.
No.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, this is
Made a Schwartz be witches.
this is Bob Denver's follow-up to Gilligan's
Spaceballs, the
Island.
T-shirt, and Spaceballs,
And-
the doll. Me.
Rick Moranis.
Dark
Moranis,
helmet. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
He's been in space.
He goes to space a lot.
Really? Oh God, I didn't even put those together.
Dark helmet was in the was in the thing. Now he's up at the
Okay.
It's a
space station.
coincidence. Tell your buddy.
What's happening now is now.
Anyway, well, it's good to see you're distracting yourself with so much meaningful stuff.
What were we gonna?
Oh, you started
lost
it.
Oh,
The Bob Denver thing.
Oh yeah. So Chuck McCann, who did impressions as well, an old school impressionist, he's basically the skipper in space. And then Bob Denver, I don't remember the character he plays, but he's basically Gilligan.
He's
And
Space Gilligan.
Yeah, Space Gilligan.
with gray
He goes,
hair.
Which, by the way, Gilligan's Planet was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
It was?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Gilligan's
that.
Planet. Google it.
Okay.
They get stuck on a planet with Gilligan. But
Wait a minute. Off the island? Same group of people traveled a second time?
I'm pretty sure they all.
Would you ever
space-
get on a vessel of travel with those people again?
100%.
It happened. It happened. You know what's the worst that can happen? My friend Billy was in a horrible plane crash. He lived. It was a Northwest Airlines flight out of, I think it was Michigan to Pittsburgh, and it got hit on the runway. And, yeah, a lot of people passed away, and Billy lived. And I'm like, I'm flying with you every time. And he goes, I don't know. I used to think it was just once. He flies freely, like no big deal. But
He probably flies free.
he flies free. He got some cake out of that. Although their first reaction was just get him another flight. Like,
No.
like they wanted to get him back.
Where do you need to go, sir? Where are you trying to get to?
How fast can we get you there? Right.
Typing.
Let's just put you out and get you on another ride. But I'd never ride with Lovey and Mrs. Howell again. Even if I saw them, like I'm going to Vegas, I'm like, hey, I know those two. Where are you guys going? Vegas. Oh, forget it. I'm getting another flight. We're not traveling
Yeah,
together.
we're
It's
going
just-
on a different.
I'm never going to travel with you again.
So, Chuck McCann, the Chuck McCann character, who's basically the skipper, says, "Get me some lunch," and he presses launch. He goes, "I said lunch, not launch." Step right up and take a look at the stars and see the world behind. There's a character that's like just this giant. It's Sid and Marty Krofft, and there's a character named Honk. Honk,
And that's all he does.
That's all he does.
Yeah.
Honk.
I
All right, we
remember-
got to bring Salehi in.
Oh, is he still? Is he
I think-
here?
I think so. We can bring him in.
Hey,
Chuck McCann.
I thought we were done with him. He graduated and got a wife and kids and left.
No, another thing we're going to do, Toledo brought this up, which I really liked, is we're going to start giving him the official assignment, and then every couple of weeks checking in with Salehi on. Have you watched Caddyshack yet?
Oh,
Yes.
he watched it a while ago.
Okay. We'll do that in about 6 episodes. What give us your rundown of references that went over your head. I had to think of the word.
Yeah, it was a weird one.
Oh.
He's not going to get Bob and Doug.
Yeah, Bob and Doug McKenzie. Yeah.
So SCTV, Second City Television, was around in the early 80s. Bob and Doug McKenzie were
Huge.
2 hosers that were up in Canada, because Second City, I guess it didn't start in Canada, but there was a
Moved
Canadian
to Toronto.
with John Candy. Who played Guy Caballero?
Damn it. Eugene Levy was on. Joe Flaherty was that.
Flaherty, Crazy
Eugene
Legs.
Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Tony Rosato, Martin Short.
Did we say John Candy?
Yeah, that's right. We did say John Candy.
John
it
Candy
was
again.
ridiculous. And you're probably missing all of these references, but this was a who's who of people who ended
Yeah,
up
they
being
became a huge
Yeah.
80s.
Martin Short.
Martin Short.
Yeah, you said Martin Short.
Yeah, but still.
Marty.
It's worth saying
Oh,
twice.
he did?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't hear.
That's right.
So it was a sketch show, but it was a sketch show that had a through line. They had their own television network, SCTV, yeah, and they would do sketches within the network, so it tied everything together, which is what made it different than Saturday Night Live. But big characters came out of it. Joe Flaherty's the guy in Happy Gilmore.
It was Happy Gilmore.
He's a jackass.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That guy who just keeps on jackass. He was just in something serious that I saw he delivers the message to Dr. Emmett Brown in Back to the Future, Western Union, a little thing about the Future 2, I think. But he's in tons and tons of movies.
But Bob and Doug there's a movie called Strange Brew that
About 1984.
83 or 84. Yeah, 2 Canadian local it was basically Wayne's World before Wayne's World.
Yeah.
And it was 2 Canadian idiots who drank like crazy and tried to get Elsinore beer from Elsinore Castle and realized there was a big conspiracy with it.
Right.
It's the silliest movie ever.
Classic 80s movie where the
funny.
bad guy, Brewmeister Smith.
Yeah. Oh, and Rosie LaRose was a hockey player that they could use to. There was a
It was like
love
a
interest.
Scooby-Doo
It was so funny.
episode as a movie.
Very similar to how Wayne's World was.
Yeah.
It's just,
That's on your assignment list though.
Yes.
I don't know if it holds up. Does it? It would to
No,
me
it's-
because nostalgically I like everything about it, but to a new set of eyes, I don't know if Strange Brew's any good at all. Except for the character is pretty great, eh?
I love it. Okay.
Okay.
Good day.
All right, Salehi, what is your next problem, eh?
It's really good.
Thanks, eh?
Didn't expect.
Michael Knight.
Oh, man.
Oh, come on.
That makes a little sense.
So
Is that-
there
Is
was.
that the? I mean, David Hasselhoff. I'm assuming it's Knight Rider.
Yeah,
There you go.
You got it.
Okay, so is that the character's name?
Yeah,
I haven't seen.
Yeah,
it.
he assumed a different identity. Did they ever figure that out?
Mike, that who he really was?
His car was Kit, but the bad car.
Yeah, and his evil twin, Kenny Stabler.
Yeah. What
Does
else
he
you
know
got?
Kenny
do
Stabler
you know
is?
the truth about Kenny
Yes.
Stabler? Okay, good.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
knows all. He knows sports references.
I mean, every football player, Jack Ham,
Yeah.
Casper. I mean,
Well, his room is Redskins yellow. We're looking at a room that is
it's
clearly.
it's burgundy and gold.
Yeah.
This is
Did you know Otis Sistrunk?
You remember
He's
this?
a defensive lineman for the Raiders.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, that is good.
Sistrunk rocking it.
Cosell used to lose his mind over Otis Sistrunk
Oh.
because he was the only guy that didn't go to college that was in the NFL. They used to say he was like from the University of Mars or something like that.
Do you know what they said about Sistrunk? That he had a
I
sister.
heard that 100%. Did I tell the Howard Cosell thing on the last podcast about Thurman Munson? I was watching an old rerun of
Yes.
7. I did. Okay. When
Yeah.
he was just making him indestructible,
good.
and 8 months later,
Oh right, yeah.
terrifying.
Yes.
I've been
And
telling
the
this
last
story.
one is you kind of already explained. It was Far Out Space Nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna get.
Nobody will get that.
But do you know what?
No.
Do you know what Croft said? Who Sid and Marty Croft are
No.
or were?
I can tell you. The crappy Muppets.
Yeah, they were like full size. They were full size
Yeah, people
Muppets, like Sweetums on the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
So Sigmund the Sea Monster, Johnny and Scott are friends. There were the Bugaloos. There were the most
Puffin'
low budget
Yeah.
kids programming that always had a tinge of psychedelic wrongness to them.
It felt like you had to be high to like it,
Yeah.
or maybe a borderline. Like they didn't have the spectrum when we were kids, but
Lidsville.
this was it.
As a kid, I had no idea, but you go back and watch it now, and you're like, they are high out
Yeah.
of their gourds.
Yeah.
You're going, there's no way you come out of this stuff where people are just hat heads. There's no Sigmund the Sea Monster with
It was weird. It was, you know what? It's the Magical Mystery Tour for kids.
yeah.
It's the Blue Meanies. It's what the Beatles used to try to do. Oh, I like that. Look, Scott's got the brick wall. His new nickname.
Yeah. Breaking through.
Anyway, is that it, Salehi?
That's it.
I feel Toledo. Did you mark anything down? Because there's no way that's all he missed.
We did a lot of porn and a lot of politics.
And
so
you
there
knew the
wasn't a lot-
porn stuff.
got it all.
You knew the porn stuff. I just don't see you.
Yeah. Oh, he jerks off to the cis drunk. Nothing.
Any references I had were all the Raiders, and he got most of those.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, he's always gonna get sports.
Good
He's
job.
gonna like. It's like he has every football card in the spokes of his bicycle. I just
So he
feel,
knows Gilligan's Island and Spaceballs?
Okay, hold on. That's a reference all in itself. Do you know why?
Baseballs I have not seen.
Okay. Got to see that.
Do you know what kids did with the spokes of their bikes and baseball cards?
I'm assuming stuck them in the spokes. Of
yeah.
the-
So the
Made like a motorcycle.
they do that.
It was for poor
Huh.
kids. My parents
That's
just bought me a moped.
I really hope some of the agitators tonight are riding bikes with baseball cards in it.
Oh, yeah. You got to sound
Just-
cooler, man.
Yeah. All right. So Michelle texted me while the show's going on. So Arizona has a stay-at-home order. Can I walk in the neighborhood? Yeah, go ahead. I dare you. Enjoy. Just don't bring the kids with you.
Yeah. I live right down the street from one of the targeted areas tonight. So,
Really?
yeah. The Biltmore Shopping Center. Oh. So I'm like less than a mile from.
I feel like we're pretty safe here.
Oh, you're fine. The odds of them finding my house and burning it down.
Unless they really hate
Unless
the
they know
Steelers.
me. Look, I deal with that's true. I deal with people like I live in constant fear someone's going to burn my house down. Every time I leave work, I'm like, I probably pissed somebody off. I'm going to burn my house down.
That's
So,
true.
yeah. So this is nothing new.
Yeah, it's just another day.
I just can't go to the pizza place I like at the
home.
Biltmore tonight. That's all.
Well, you can.
They closed.
Kevlar.
I guess I'd go get it myself, like everybody else.
All right, so we learned a lot today.
Did we ever?
Thanks,
Sure
everybody.
did.
It's good to be back.
Yeah.
I touched the other one. A Corona touch.
Oh wow, made it
I
happen.
give you the virus. Okay, that's the show, right?
That was great.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right, next week, more of that snake thing and beer, eh?
We're going to have a bunch of it. We're going to get it all. What we're going to do is actually pour a whole bunch of it into one giant vat and drink it.
Okay.
Same time.
The more you talk about it, the more I got to pee. Eh? I got to get out of here.
Oh, good day.
Okay, good day.
Take off, you
Take
little
off, hosers.